Welcome back to Campfire Whispers, your daily fix of horror stories, unsolved mysteries, and straight-up unbelievable content. My name is Eki, and today I'm sharing a story called I Watched My Own Funeral. Nathan Holloway woke to the sound of his phone vibrating non-stop on the nightstand. Bleary-eyed, he reached for it, thinking it was just another calendar alert or maybe spam. But there were 43 missed calls from his sister, his co-worker, an ex-girlfriend he hadn't spoken to in 2 years, and one from an unknown number that left a voicemail titled, "Condolences." The phone slipped from his hand. Nathan wasn't famous. He wasn't in trouble. He was a 31-year-old man living alone in a modest one-bedroom apartment in Evans Creek, a sleepy town tucked between two dense forests in Oregon. His life was ordinary. He worked remotely as a data analyst, took hikes on weekends, and cooked exactly the same 3 meals each week. That morning had started like any other. Coffee, emails, a shower. So why were people acting like he was dead? Nathan stood up and walked to the mirror above his kitchen sink. His reflection stared back, a little pale, a little tired, but alive, very much alive. He called his sister, Tara. She picked up instantly and sobbed before he could say a word. "Nate," she whispered. "Who is this? Who's using his number?" "It's me," he said. "I'm here. I'm alive." The line went silent. Then she screamed. "Don't call this number again," she choked. "This is sick. Stop it." The line disconnected. Nathan stared at the phone, heartbeat thudding in his ears. He went online and typed his name into the search bar. There it was. Local man, Nathan Holloway, found dead in forest. Byline, 2 days ago. The article explained that hikers had found his body near the Pine Needle Trail, not far from where he normally hiked. The photograph used was outdated, taken 3 years ago at a friend's wedding. The cause of death was listed as unknown. What chilled him the most was the last sentence. A private funeral will be held tomorrow morning, attended by close family and friends. That was today. Without thinking, Nathan grabbed his keys and drove toward the church listed in the article. His mind was spiraling. Was this a cruel prank? A glitch? An identity theft situation that had spun out of control? He parked across the street, heart pounding. The lot was full. People filtered into the church, dressed in black. Faces he hadn't seen in years. His high school best friend, his old boss, even Emily, his ex. He watched from the car, stunned, until he saw his sister walk in, wearing their mother's old black coat. She looked destroyed. He almost stepped out, almost called her name, but something stopped him. An animal instinct, something primal that whispered, "They're not supposed to see you." He stayed in the car and watched the funeral of a man who still breathed. As the crowd entered, a silver casket was wheeled up the steps by 6 pallbearers. The shape inside was unmistakably human. The church doors closed behind them. Nathan sat frozen. The funeral lasted about an hour. When it ended, people filed out slowly, weeping, clutching tissues, comforting one another. Nathan's own grief caught him by surprise. It wasn't just the pain of watching people mourn him. It was the realization that he had no idea what was real anymore. As the hearse pulled away, a single figure remained on the steps. A woman, pale, thin, dressed in black. But something about her was off. She was smiling. Nathan had never seen her before. And then she turned and looked directly at him. Not just at his car, at him. Their eyes locked. Her head tilted slightly, and she mouthed the words, "Wrong turn." Nathan drove away fast. When he got home, the apartment felt wrong. Colder, the air thicker, like he'd walked into a sealed room that hadn't been opened in years. He touched the walls. They felt damp. The lights flickered, then steadied. He checked the mirror again. This time, he didn't see his reflection, just the empty room behind him. Then a flicker, his reflection returned, but it didn't move when he did. It stared straight back, expressionless, delayed, and then it smiled. Nathan stumbled away and grabbed his phone, but the screen stayed black. When he pressed the power button, it only showed one notification, one new voicemail, unknown number. He listened. The message was just static at first. Then a whisper, slow, deliberate. "You shouldn't have watched." That night, he couldn't sleep. Footsteps echoed in the hallway, even though he lived alone. Shadows moved in corners he wasn't looking at. Every time he passed the mirror, his reflection was late, lagging by seconds. He started noticing other things, too. He no longer had a shadow during daylight. His fingertips no longer had fingerprints. His voice on video sounded distorted, like it belonged to someone else. 2 days later, a letter appeared on his kitchen table. No envelope, just a single sheet of paper with old, yellowed edges. The ink was brownish red. It read, "The space you took was not yours. Death must be witnessed. You were meant to stay gone." The woman from the church began to appear everywhere. In the corner of his vision, across the street, reflected in windows behind him. Always watching, always smiling, never blinking. Nathan drove out of town. He returned to the Pine Needle Trail, the place where he'd supposedly died. The forest was darker than usual. The trees pressed in. The wind didn't blow. He hiked until his legs ached. At the summit, he found a stone. Flat, rough, recently disturbed. He dug with his hands until his nails split. Eventually, he uncovered it, a shallow grave. Inside it was a body, his own, mouth open, eyes wide in terror, wearing the same clothes he'd worn 2 days ago. He backed away, screaming, but his voice came out garbled, wet and wrong. That's when he heard it, breathing, not his own. He turned, and the woman was standing there. Her face was ancient and ageless at once. Her skin was stretched too tightly. Her eyes were pitch black and wide like voids. "You saw what you weren't meant to," she said. "And so, something saw you." Nathan tried to run. She didn't follow, but her voice filled the forest. Some doors only open once. You walked through. When he got home, the apartment no longer recognized him. The lock had changed. His name wasn't on the mailbox. The key cut his hand as he tried to force it. He bled, thick, dark blood that felt too heavy. He broke in through the window and found that his belongings were gone. Someone else lived there now. A man who looked almost like him. Not quite. Same eyes, same height, different smile. The man turned and said, "You're not supposed to be here." Then, like a glitch in reality, everything went black. Nathan woke up in a cheap motel hours away. His clothes were torn. His fingers were cracked and bleeding. He checked his phone. There were no contacts, no photos, no calls, no service. Just one file in the voice memos folder. He hit play. It was his voice, but it was crying, whimpering. Then a whisper, "Let me go." Nathan no longer sees his reflection. Anywhere. Mirrors show the room behind him. Never him. He doesn't cast shadows. He wanders from motel to motel, trying to hold onto the fragments of his identity. But every day, a little more fades. His memories blur. Names slip away. And sometimes, late at night, he sees her again, outside the window, or at the edge of the woods. And she's always smiling, because she knows. He watched his own funeral, and something else walked away instead. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Join me next time for more unbelievable tales on Campfire Whispers.